with each search, we train it to be better. Sometimes we type in the search and it tells us the answer before you have finished asking the question. You know, who is the president of Kazakhstan? And it'll just tell you. You don't have to go to the Kazakhstan national website to find out. I think you just have to consider, like, even in the benign scenario where AI, if AI is much smarter than a person, what do we do?
Yeah.
What job do we have?
Believe in a benevolent AI force and cross our fingers.
Yeah, it's like but that's the benign scenario. Benign scenario, the AI can do any job that a human can, but better.
Yeah.
That's the benign scenario. If AI has a goal and humanity just happens to be in the way, it will destroy humanity as a matter of course, without even thinking about it. No hard feelings. It's just like if we're building a road and an anthill happens to be in the way, we don't hate ants. We're just building a road. And so goodbye anthill. The robots going down the streets, they're like, what are you talking about? Man, we want to make sure we don't have killer robots going down the street. Once they're going down the street, it is too late. Google acquired DeepMind several years ago. DeepMind operates as a semi-independent subsidiary of Google. The thing that makes DeepMind unique is that DeepMind is absolutely focused on creating digital superintelligence, an AI that is vastly smarter than any human on Earth and ultimately smarter than all humans on Earth combined. The DeepMind system can win at any game. It can already beat all the original Atari games. It is superhuman. It plays the games at super speed in less than a minute. DeepMind's AI has administrator-level access to Google's servers to optimize energy usage at the data centers. However, this could be an unintentional Trojan horse. DeepMind has to have complete control of the data centers, so with a little software update, that AI could take complete control of the whole Google system, which means they can do anything. They can look at all your data, you can do anything. We're rapidly headed towards digital superintelligence that far exceeds any human. I think it's very obvious.
We always do things we are good at.
Sure, okay, well, what would be an example of something that humans are better than a computer at? And then let's see if that happens. There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better. I think things are definitely going to go into kind of autonomous, locally autonomous drone warfare. Is where it's at, where the future will be. I'm just saying, it's not I want the future to be this. It's just this is what the future will be. Okay. Is autonomous drone warfare. And at a local level, I can't believe I'm saying this because this is like dangerous, but it's simply what will occur is sort of drones locally being autonomous. Okay. But it's the fighter jet era has passed. That is, it's just, yeah, fighter jet era has passed. Okay.
Do you think the current approaches will take us to general intelligence, or do totally new ideas need to be invented?
I think we're missing a few key ideas for artificial general intelligence. But it's going to be upon us very quickly. And then we'll need to figure out what shall we do, if we even have that choice.
Create an AI system that we can love and loves us back in a deep, meaningful way, like in the movie Her.
I think AI will be capable of convincing you to fall in love with it very well.
And that's different than us humans.
We start getting into a metaphysical question of, like, do emotions and thoughts exist in a different realm than the physical? And maybe they do, maybe they don't, I don't know. And from a physics standpoint, essentially, if it loves you in a way that you can't tell whether it's real or not, it is real.
That's a physics view of love.
Yeah.
And it's similar to seeing our world as simulation, there may not be a test to tell the difference between what the real world and the simulation, and therefore, from a physics perspective, it might as well be the same thing.
Yes. And there may be ways to test whether it's a simulation. There might be. I'm not saying there aren't. But you could certainly imagine that a simulation could correct that. Once an entity in the simulation found a way to detect the simulation, it could either restart, pause the simulation, start a new simulation, or do one of many other things that then corrects for that error.
Yeah, we're already a cyborg in the sense that your phone and your computer are kind of an extension of you.
Just low bandwidth input output.
Exactly, it's just low bandwidth, particularly output. I mean, 2 thumbs basically.
So how do we solve that problem?
The bandwidth thing?
It's a bandwidth issue. I mean, we've all succumbed to it now. We're all cyborgs. We're just low efficiency cyborgs. So how do we make it better?
I think we've got to build an interface. Like we didn't evolve to have a communications jack, or some. So there's got to be essentially vast numbers of tiny electrodes that are able to read write from your brain. Of course, security is pretty important in this situation, to say the least.
I was going to say, I'm not coming with. I'm keeping my brain air gapped.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people will choose to do that. But it's a bit like Ian Banks' neural lace. Mm-hmm. But in the case of neural lace, it's sort of that's there from when you're born, or it's more of
backup.
Sorry?
It's a backup.
Yeah, kind of a backup. This would be, there's a digital extension of you that is an AI, the AI extension of you, a tertiary layer of intelligence. So you've got your limbic system, your cortex, and the tertiary layer, which is the digital AI extension of you. And that high bandwidth connection is what achieves a tight symbiosis. I think that's the best outcome. I hope so. If anybody's got better ideas.
This is the largest global government summit. We have over 139 government here. If you want to advise government official to be ready for the future, what is 3 things or 3 advice you'll give them?
Well, I think the first bit of advice would be to really pay close attention to the development of artificial intelligence. I think we need to just be very careful in how we adopt artificial intelligence, and to make sure that researchers don't get carried away. Because sometimes what happens is a scientist can get so engrossed in their work, they don't necessarily realize the ramifications of what they're doing. So I think it's important for public safety that governments keep a close eye on artificial intelligence and make sure that it does not represent a danger to the public. But what to do about mass unemployment? This is going to be a massive social challenge. And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Universal basic income.
Universal basic income, I think it's going to be necessary.
So it means that unemployed people will be paid across the globe.
Yeah.
Because there is no job, machine, robot is taking over.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better.
Okay.
That's simply and I want to be clear that these are not things that I wish would happen. These are simply things that I think probably will happen. And if my assessment is correct and they probably will happen, then we need to say, what are we going to do about it? And I think some kind of a universal basic income is going to be necessary. Now the output of goods and services will be extremely high. So with automation, there will come abundance. There will be almost everything will get very cheap. I think we'll just end up doing a universal basic income. It's going to be necessary, the harder challenge, much harder challenge, is how do people then have meaning? Like a lot of people, they derive their meaning from their employment. So if you don't have, if you're not needed, if there's not a need for your labor, how do you, what's the meaning? Do you have meaning? Do you feel useless? That's a much harder problem to deal with. And then how do we ensure that the future is going to be the future that we want, that we still like?
Which went from, in the span of maybe 6 to 9 months, it went from being unable to beat even a reasonably good Go player to then beating the European world champion who was ranked 600, then beating Lisa Doll 4-5, who'd been world champion for many years, then beating the current world champion, then beating everyone while playing simultaneously.
First they challenged a European Go champion, then they challenged a Korean Go champion. And they were able to win both times in kind of striking fashion.
You were reading articles in the New York Times years ago talking about how Go would take 100 years for us to solve.
Then there was Alpha Zero, which crushed Alpha Go 100-0. And Alpha Zero just learned by playing itself, and it can play basically any game that you put the rules in for. Whatever rules you give it, it literally read the rules, play the game, and be superhuman. For any game.
How many years before you don't have to talk?
If the development continues to accelerate, then maybe like 5 years, 5 to 10 years.
That's quick. That's really quick.
That's the best case scenario.
No talking anymore in 5 years.
Best case scenario. But 10 years more like it. Really, in the first few versions, all we're going to be trying to do is solve brain injuries. So it's like don't worry that it's not going to sneak up on you. This will take a while.
25 years from now, what are we going to be?
In 25 years, probably something. I would think there could be a whole brain interface. Like almost all the neurons are connected to the sort of AI extension of yourself. If you have if you have ultra intelligent AI, we would be, so far below them in intelligence that it would be like, a pet, basically.
Cat, that's what I was thinking.
Like a pet.
Cat,
Like a cat. It would be
Elon
like
the
a house cat. Yeah, it would be like the house cat.
Right.
I think it's incredibly important that AI not be other. It must be us. I'm certainly open to ideas if anybody can suggest a path that's better. But I think we're really going to have to either merge with AI or be left behind.
So when maybe you or somebody else creates an AGI system and you get to ask her one question, what would that question be?
What's outside the simulation?